Who is Satoshi Nakamoto, do you think? And first of all, is it you?
It definitely is not me. I don't know who it is.
If it was, would you tell me?
No,
It's a trick question.
I know, trick question. But I mean, everybody who knows me knows I can't really code. So
You would say that even if you could. But
that's true.
do you think it's one person? Do you think it's multiple people? Is it interesting to you? Do you think it's fundamental to the coin itself, to not the coin, the entirety of the concept, that its founders and Ammous, and how much guts do you think it takes if it's one person to just walk away from so much money?
I've considered all these questions many times. It's very hard to formulate a definitive answer to all of them. I don't know who it is, and I don't know why he or them or she are not spending the coins that they most likely have. I think what really matters in Bitcoin about Satoshi is the fact that he's not there. And this is what's truly astonishing about it. The most important fact in Bitcoin is the fact that the creator has disappeared and the thing has continued to operate now for almost 12 years without him being there, or 11 years, I think it's been since he's left. And this is really the most important thing. And maybe he died or she died, or they got into an accident on a road trip or whatever, and that's why they haven't accessed their coins. Maybe they're incapacitated for some reason. But whatever reason it is, I really think it's fate or serendipity that is given us this very vital, very, very, very vital building ingredient in Bitcoin, which no other digital currency would ever recreate, which is that, because it was the first, it was the one that was able to establish the first mover advantage and get all of the people who were interested in the technology to get into it. And so that's an enormous advantage. But the cherry on top, or what made the whole thing really function well, is the fact that the guy who made it disappeared, and that it continued to operate, which is just a clear illustration that this is a network with no admins. And I'm tempted to think that they're incapacitated in some way, probably dead or gone, because I can't believe I don't believe any human being would have this level of self-control to not want to meddle with their invention so much. Even if they might have had the self-control to mine the first million coins to get the network going and then throw away the coins or send them to an address that they don't have the key to, because they really just wanted the network to take off. They may have no access to the coins, and that's why they can't move them. I could see that happening, but I find it harder to believe that they would resist the temptation to mess with the network.
It's funny. I find that the founders of ideas are often principled and have the integrity that the eventual users of those ideas don't fully have. I tend to, we have the kind of cynical view, power corrupts, absolute power corrupts absolutely. And we tend to, in our mind, generalize that all humans are corruptible. And perhaps that's true to some degree, but I think that some people are more corruptible than others. And I find that there is, I like to think that Satoshi Nakamoto is out there, and, just like George Washington chose to walk away. And it's a principle, and the principle is more powerful than the financial reward or any of those kinds of things. It's a principle that stands for freedom, and there's a lot of people throughout history, even recent history, that are willing to die for these principles or live a life full of suffering and sacrifice because they're still living a life of principle and choosing that day after day after day. So, there's power to that. Money, what's the worth of money in the end? In terms of just personal financial gain versus knowing how much positive impact there is. So the person that chooses to walk away like that, I think, is the same kind of person that chooses to live by that principle. You have people like that, in Grigori Grisha Perelman in mathematics, who turned down the Fields Medal because he was...
Yeah, that's a medal, not $50 billion of Bitcoin.
Well,
No, I know, I'm joking.
Well, that's actually an interesting, just a brief comment. When people talk about Bitcoin in the cryptocurrency space, it's often mixed up financial interest and ideas. And I think those are often correlated. But that good feeling you get when you win, or you, number go up, or you just somebody, I found $20 on the street the other day, and just that feeling of just like, ooh, like more money, that positive feeling, that's correlated, but it is distinct from the power of the idea to change a world, to change the world for the better, to alleviate. It's like Alex Gladstein in the case of Bitcoin, that decrease the amount of suffering in the world because of the authoritarian regimes. And just because your number goes up, like that gambling feeling of like, yes, this is good. And I mean, short term number go up. There's a long term number go up. That's more like investment and so on. And there's a short term number go up. It's just a good feeling that you have to, in your mind, keep those distinct from the power of the idea to transform the world. And if you focus on the power of the idea, maybe a billion or billions of dollars don't matter as much. At least that's what I would like to believe.
Perhaps, but what matters ultimately is that the thing works without him. The thing's worked for 11 years without him, and I think this is the really important thing. If they had stuck around for whatever reason and they had continued to meddle with it, it's not clear to me how decentralized it could have been. This is the problem with the other currencies. It's like, how do you lose control of the Frankenstein that you've created? The only way that this Frankenstein continues to survive is if the person in charge of it continues to feed it. And so it continues to be yours. And that's the problem with all the other digital currencies. If you've heard about any of the other 16,000 digital currencies out there, you've only heard about it because there's a small group of people behind it that are working on it, that are promoting it. And that's why, and I think, Michael Saylor's discussion with you was a magnificent illustration of the difference between Bitcoin and altcoins, in that they are securities. And I think he makes a very compelling, brilliant case for why this is makes them categorically different from Bitcoin. Bitcoin, you're buying property.
I think he mentioned he's a huge fan of Dogecoin, but I might be misremembering.
You are misremembering.
Okay, I need to. Maybe I'm quoting him out of context.